It's Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, and give all praises, Kal Halal, Yahawah, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors once again to the apostles of Great Millstone, all right, who taught me this truth, who rule well. This is Naaman. Ran across this article today, and this is from Mother Nature, so-called Mother Nature Network, okay? Um, and this is earlier in this year, January 13th, as it's dated. But it caught my attention because, as it reads, mysterious blind ghost fish reveals Congo to be the deepest river in the world, not the one in Russia. What's the name of it? Starts with a B. I can't remember offhand what it is. But um, the reason I want to do this because years ago and ever since, on occasion, um, the apostles and the elders would hint at uh, the fact that this red Hebrew Edomite, talking about Esau Edom, the so-called white man, doesn't know as much as he thinks he knows about planet Earth, and that's the truth. That's just should be common sense. All right. So hold on just 1 second here. All right, I'm back. Slocking. All right. Yeah, he doesn't know as much about the planet that we all live on. All right, but again, the so-called white man likes to seem like the smartest guy in the room. All right, that's just the way he's made. All right. It says in the article, it says the waters of the Congo River in Africa are some of the world's most mysterious. This is the river that inspired Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. It crosses the equator twice, cuts through the world's second largest rainforest, and its basin is home to some of the highest levels of biodiversity on the planet. And only just now have we discovered the true depth of this beguiling waterway. It turns out the Congo River is also the world's deepest. It has underwater worlds we never knew existed and strange blind creatures lurking in its hidden abysses. The first hints at just how deep this river ran came a few years ago when peculiar ghost white fish began washing up on the Congo's lower shores. These fish looked like cave fish. They were blind, with pale, bleached skin, like organisms adapted to life in dark caverns concealed from the light for millennia. But but this was a roaring river, and there were no caves around from where these fish could have emerged. Melanie Stiashne, I guess that's how you pronounce it, and ichthyologist at the American Museum of Natural History, was among the first scientists on the scene. She noticed a clue. These fish would die almost immediately upon flopping ashore, with bubbles seeming to fizz from beneath their skin and from their gills. All right. It says she recognized the symptoms, and this is symptoms of the bends. This animal was dying from catastrophic decompression syndrome. All right. Syndrome is the same thing that happens to human divers when they experience a rapid pressure change, such as when a diver ascends from the depths too quickly. All right. It says this fish dying in my hand asked the question, could there be deep water here? And thus began the investigation. All right. It says the Congo has obscure pockets that aren't just deep, they're immensely deep. The team measured certain parts that were over 700 feet deep, in fact, and that's not all. Doppler current profilers show that some of these pockets contain their own hidden worlds, cut off from the rest of the world by strong ascending and descending currents and powerful swirling eddies. An eddy is like a tornado in the water. All right. It says these currents essentially act as boundaries that can't be crossed, allowing the creatures within them to evolve separately from their free swimming brethren. This is a river, how much more so in the vastness of the oceans. All right. Not only that, you have something that's called primary water. The Earth's crust is roughly, well, let's get it. We'll come back to this. Let's see. Here we go. The crust is what we're concerned with right now. The crust is everything we can see and study directly. The thinnest layer of the Earth, the crust still measures about 40 kilometers on average, ranging from 5 to 70 kilometers, and that's 3 to 44 miles in depth and thickness. That's the outermost crust, all right? But at the scale of the planet, that's less than the skin of an apple, all right? There are two types of crust, continental and oceanic crust. Oceanic crust can be found at the bottom of the oceans or below the continental crust. It is generally harder and deeper, consisting of denser rocks like basalt, while continental crust contains granite-type rocks and sediments. The continental crust thicker on land. All right? And the crust is not one rigid thing, but it's split into several tectonic plates. And I'm sure you all know when they reference earthquakes and things of that nature, when you have one that goes under another one, and tension builds up as they're moving, sliding against one another, and that's what it's describing down here. It says, let's see, and the mantle is the next layer, but also, let me bring up the fact that you have something called primary water. Now we know that the crust, it says up to 44, according to Esau now, it's 44 miles thick. So you have to consider when we have, and then you go to the scriptures where after the flood, it is said that the earth will not be flooded again. And when you go to Genesis 9, there goes the symbol of the rainbow as a testament to that. All right. So where does all this water go? From the rains, not necessarily salt water as in the oceans. So what's going on here? Well, you have a thing called primary water. All right. And the reason I brought up the crust and all this, let's get that real quick. Whoops. Hold on. Here it is, primary water. All right. It says primary water is why we don't have a water shortage. Water is a renewable. All right. And it goes into a recent study documented the presence of vast quantities of water locked far beneath the Earth's surface. All right. He shut off because at the initial onset of the flood, where it talks about not only the rains, but the fountains of the deep. All right. And at the end of everything, it says those were shut off, and they're okay. Now, what is he talking about? Well, this is one possibility right here. It says study confirmed that there is a very large amount of water that's trapped in a really distinct layer in the deep earth, approaching the sort of mass of water that's present in all the world's oceans. And that's my point. Where did all this go? There are things that are whole ecosystems that are cut off from everything else, as the article is going into, talking about the Congo River. All right. Water. Facts you need to know about primary water. Now, initially they said that there's 5 times more water trapped in the earth than on the earth, meaning the oceans. That should scare the shit out of you. Think about that. It says the practice of assessing primary water has been around for centuries. And it goes into the early Greek philosophers, Aristotle, and it goes into Da Vinci, all right, the so-called enlightened scientists, and it goes into drilling for such things, okay. And of course we know that even if they could get to it, Esau wants to control things, so, and to make a profit. It says primary water advantages: provides excellent quality, clean, unspoiled water, is fresh and not subject to pollution or surface radiation. All right, so you got supposedly some good shit down there. But again, we know that I don't want to get distracted from my main lesson here, but just for the sake of argument, Esau's not going to let that happen. All right, that's why he's got to go. All right, let's go back to, where was I? All right, let's go back to the main article here. But that's the point. Let's see. It says, continue. It says they are dividing up, talking about these currents and everything. They are dividing up populations and preventing them from interbreeding at a very fine geological scale. All right. So you can see why there's a lot of diversity. It says the blind ghost fish were coming from one of these deep cave-like pockets beyond the glare of the equatorial sunlight. All right, they had likely escaped their pitch-black underworld after being swept up in a strong current and brought to the surface in a rapid instant. All right. It says the discovery was a wake-up call for the scientists, a reminder that there may be whole new realms to uncover beneath the stirring waters of the Congo. Again, not just the Congo. You got to think on a bigger scale. All right. Again, they're discovering these new things. There's a scripture in what is it, Wisdom of Solomon about newly. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. Creatures newly discovered or something to that effect. Hold on. I think let's see. Here it is. Wait a minute. Wisdom of Solomon. Let's see. Wait a minute. Yeah, let's see. I started 17. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, verse 17. For thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form wanted, making reference to a Genesis, wanted not means to ascend among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions, 18, or unknown wild beasts full of rage, newly created, breathing out either a fiery vapor or filthy sense of scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes. Not only this, but let's just say newly discovered. All right, because like I say, these are ecosystems that have been separated from everything else. All right, so like you always hear the apostles talking about Leviathan and things of that nature, but how can you say that they don't exist when you have to consider an article like this is telling you that they've got proof now that these creatures were isolated from every other thing down there, and they were deeper than anything there and shut off. All right? So I say the vastness of the planet, the oceans, how deep they are, we know that as deep as they have found, I'll put it that way, because they give this, let me find it here, idiot Esau, the so-called white man, too much credit. That's not the one I wanted. Hold on. Let's see. Here it is, which is the Mariana Trench. All right. Out there on Guam. All right. It says the deepest trench on Earth. It says the maximum known, and that's the operative word here, known depth is 10,984 meters or 36,037 feet. That's 7 miles, people. 7 miles. Come on now. And that's only at it's a little depression that goes down further. It's called Challenger Deep. All right. It says, however, some unrepeated measurements place the deepest portion at 36,201 feet. All right. It says, by comparison, if Mount Everest were placed into the trench at this point, its peak would still be over 2 kilometers underwater. In 1960, let me see if I can pull it up. If I can remember the name of it was called a bathyscaphe. Was it the Trieste? Hold on. How's that spelled? Yeah, Trieste. Hold on. No. Let's see. No, let me do it this way. Bathyscaphe. Here it is. Yeah, Trieste. Here it is. Yeah, here it is. Hold on. I knew it was Trieste in there. I just thought that was. Let's see. It was a Swiss design, Italian built deep diving research bathyscaphe, which reached a record depth of 10,911 meters, 35,797 feet, in the Challenger Deep of the Mariana Trench near Guam in the Pacific. On January 23rd, 1960, Jacques Piccard, son of boats designer Auguste Piccard, and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh achieved the goal of Project Necton. All right, it was the first manned vessel to reach the bottom of the Challenger Deep. That's some crazy shit, but it goes to prove at what lengths Esau Edom will go. Remember, Jeremiah 31st chapter, all right? He's going to try to do everything he can to get that birthright back, all right? Pressure at that depth is over 15,000 psi. And they did have an incident when they were down there. I think it was 2 layers of glass. I think it was the outer one that broke. Well, it had to be. All right, you know how much pressure that is? If any of you know what a water saw is, look it up. All right? Just as it sounds. All right? But they were willing to risk that. Now, since I mentioned Jeremiah 31, let's go there. Now, I mentioned his birthright. As soon as this loads, this is Jeremiah 31. I think go down to 30. It says, talking about the Most High making a new covenant with the house of Israel. That's 31. And with the house of Judah. Both houses of Israel. All right. 32. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break. Also, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Most High Yahawah. All right. He said, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Most High Yahawah, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. Ezekiel 36 chapter, and I believe it's 24th or 26th, 36 and 26, I think it is, and then Hebrews 8 and 8, all right? And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, meaning his own people, and every man his brother, to reinforce that, saying, know the Most High Yahawah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Most High Yahawah. For I will forgive their iniquity, not the whole planet Earth, and I will remember their sin no more. All right? And it goes on to say, 35, thus saith the Most High Yahawah, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divided the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Most High Yahawah, the Lord of hosts, is his name. If those, and this is the point, 36, if those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Most High Yahawah, then the seed of Israel shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus saith the Most High Yahawah, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Most High Yahawah. All right? And is it me, or is this like sarcasm directed at Esau Edom? All right, because this is something he knows he can't do, but he's going to try. You know, like, well, go ahead. All right. Let me read that again. Jeremiah 31:37. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, if heaven above can be measured, Hubble telescope, all right, all these astrophysicists, things of that nature, searching out the heavens, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, like we're discussing in this article, all right, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Most High Yahawah. All right, so there we go. Now let's go back to the, all right, wrap it up here for time's sake. It says the Lower Congo is truly a hotspot of biological diversity. Mysterious blind ghostfish reveals Congo to be the deepest river in the world. It's so deep that there could be species lurking in its depths that we've never seen before. Again, I have to bring up how much more so the oceans. And those pockets, when I mentioned primary water, those pockets of water various places around the world in the earth's crust. All right. Think about it. That's something that's really something to think about. Let's get some more scriptures here. Primarily Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, the powers created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit and powers moved upon the face of the waters. And the powers said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And the powers saw the light, that it was good, and the powers divided the light from the darkness. All right, and the powers called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and evening and the morning were the first day. The powers, all right? Because everybody, instead of looking up the words, they just think, well, it's talking about the Most High. No. Elohim is plural. It's powers. The Most High doesn't come in to the next chapter, verse 4. All right? Let's see. Skipping down to the fifth day. Here it is, verse 20. And the power said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven." And the powers created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And the powers saw that it was good. And the powers blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let fowl multiply in the air." Think of it like this. The Most High comes in Genesis chapter 2, verse 4. All right? It's called delegation of authority, people. When we go to Colossians, first chapter, let's start at around 14. Who is the image of the invisible power, the firstborn of every creature? For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead. And I let you know it's talking about Yahawah, the Son, that in all things he might have the preeminence. For it pleased the Father that in him should all fullness dwell. All right? And having made peace through the blood of his cross, by him to reconcile all things unto himself. By him, I say, whether they be things in earth or things in heaven. All right? So let's go to John 1. In the beginning was the Word. Who is the Word? And the Word was with power, and the Word was power. The same was in the beginning with power. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. All right? All right, let's get, let's see. Let's go back. Old Testament, Exodus 20 and 11. It says, "For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is them there is, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it." All right. Let's go to Nehemiah. Let's go to Nehemiah 9. Let's see. "Thou, even thou, art Lord alone. Thou hast made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their hosts, the earth, and all things that are therein, the seas, and all that is therein, and thou preservest them all, and the host of heaven worship thee." All right. Let's go to Psalm 74. And 17. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter. All right. Let's go to Isaiah. There's more scriptures on. All right. Letting you know that you can't put the Lord in a box like Esau Edom likes to do. And a lot of Christians, because that whole thing with Christianity, when we talk about images, that's the images of Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Therefore, that's taking on his spirit. That's why Christians, as you know them, as you were raised to know them, are the worst people you will ever encounter. All right, because their daddy is Esau Edom, the deceiver, the liar. All right. This is Isaiah 44 and 24. Thus saith the Most High Yahawah, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself. So, of course, with that, what makes you think that the so-called white man is going to know everything? All right, let's go to Jeremiah again. Let's go to 27 and 5. Jeremiah 27, chapter 27, verse 5. I have made the earth, the man and the beast that are upon the ground, by my great power and by my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemeth meet unto me. All right? That's why, again, when you go to Job 9 and 24, it lets you know the Most High put this devil in charge. All right? Romans 13 chapter, verses 1 through 4 is another one. Let's go to Jeremiah 33 and 2. Thus saith the Most High Yahawah, the maker thereof, the Lord that formed it, to establish it, the Lord is his name. All right. I already read John, Hebrews 11 and 3. Let's go to 2 Peter 3, 5. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. All right. Already read Colossians. Let's see. Matthew. Again. I read Colossians. All right. This is Matthew chapter 28 and 18. It says, and Yahawah came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Well, I was talking about Genesis 1 and talking about powers and stuff like that. This is another scripture that lets you know that he, the angels, and the with the elect were the ones that created everything. By order, all right, remember I mentioned delegation of authority, by order of the Most High. He provided the blueprint, you go out and do it. All right? Whenever you ever seen a king get off the throne and take up a hammer and nails, think about that. Once again, Matthew 28 and 18, and Yahawah came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach. Okay, well, that's going into something else. But the point is, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. All right? So let's see if there's anything else for this article, because that's going to wrap this up. The point of the matter is, there are things still out there that no one has seen. All right? And these things are like, they're starting to reveal themselves more and more, because this is getting to the end. All right? So people are going to see visions and things that are actually there that are going to freak people the hell out, because, again, you've relied on your enemy, the so-called white man, Esau Edom, the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right? You're getting all your information from him and then believing this piece of shit. All right? But this is why the world is turning on these devils. All right? Because everybody's tired of this shit. All right? So with that, let's see if there's any comments. All right. Is martial law coming to the U.S.? Okay, okay, that's another whole thing. But as far as this goes, that's going to wrap it up. I think I've said about all there is to say. I'll put the links to the other articles, all right, in the description box, along with the link to this. All right. So once again, uh, yeah, this should be something to consider about, for everybody. There's still a whole lot to this planet. They want to talk about what's out there in the heavens, out in space and all that, and you don't even know what all's here on the planet that you live on. Again, the hubris of these Edomites, these so-called white people. All right, it boggles the mind. All right, so with that, that's going to do it on here. I hope whoever sees this is edified. All right, and once again, I want to give all praises, call halal, Yahawah, Bahashim Yahweh, Bahashim Kakodash, double honors once again to the apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. All right. Salutations to the Akim out there on the highways and byways pushing this truth, all honesty and sincerity, or trying to wake up the remaining, hopefully elect. All right. So with that, Shalom, Akim, Shalom.